Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 117 of Project Geekology. This week's episode, The Sandlot. I'm your co-host, Rich, joined as always with...
Dakota, and our other co-host,
Anthony.
I'm excited to talk about The Sandlot, guys, because I haven't watched it yet. I prepared for Bad News Bears today. That's why the background on my my Zoom is Bad News Bears, the 2005 version with Anyway, so you guys talk about this movie. I'll interject my thoughts from when I was a small boy. I have pictographic memory though, so I don't need to rewatch this.
Well, I did rewatch it this week, and honestly, I was really, really happy to do so. It led me down a couple rabbit holes. I started looking up Ruth in the 32 in the World Series, calling a shot. So we'll have to talk about that as we get into the episode.
Actually.
So guys, I may be breaking some hearts out there, but it seems that may not have happened. I've watched grainy footage over 50 times of Ruth calling his shot, and it seems that he does indeed point in a direction that is fairly left field, but left of the field. So it could have been third base, it could have been someone in the dugout, could have been someone on the field. There are multiple interviews where there's one time where he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then suddenly, like a couple interviews later, he's like, yeah, I did that. I called my shot. Of course I did. And then like years later, he was interviewed again and he was like, I don't know. But it was a good story, wasn't it? And it seems I grew up believing it because of this movie.
You're killing me, Smalls.
I know. But it seems that it may not have happened.
Was it Ruth? That's that guy that they call Bobbity, right?
Everyone's favorite Met. It's the greatest Met of all time.
Majin
Baby
Buu.
Ruth.
Oh, it's it is crazy to think. I mean, and there are probably people who don't know Aaron Judge or Juan Soto or any of the other big names out there, but the fact that Smalls doesn't know Babe Ruth, woof.
That was pretty fascinating.
Like, I don't know the other people that you named, but I do know who Babe Ruth is.
Okay.
And like Lou Gehrig, and like I know some of the oldies, but yeah, like these new guys, bro, you could throw a name out at me and be like, oh, is that my neighbor down the street?
I don't think so, but to chime into Rich's Aaron Judge, Juan Soto discussion. Aaron Judge is a current Yankee player who I think hit the home run record for a single season a couple of years back, right? It was like 62 home runs in a single season.
He broke the Yankees Roger Maris's original. Well, it's a little bit. If you look at the numbers, it's a little. I think that Judge legitimately almost did it or tied it, and then overtook it because they used to play 154 games. So by technicality, they're playing. The current Yankees are playing more games, but yeah, it's. I looked up the stats. I actually did because it was interesting that like even when the guy who broke the record before Judge, he broke it, and people debated whether it was legitimate because the games had increased actually as well when he was playing. So
it's kind of like boxing isn't up to 12 rounds anymore or something like that. So
it's one of those things.
The rules of the games are different. But and Juan Soto is a former Yankee, now a Met player.
Yeah, probably your favorite player, right? You'd say
he's definitely got a lot of personality.
Wait, hold on, Anthony. You got to know Shohei Ohtani, for example, right?
He don't know Shohei.
Bro, I don't know anybody.
Shohei's everywhere.
I literally like you are speaking Chinese to me. Okay.
No, he's Japanese.
And actually, even then, I know more Chinese than I do baseball players.
Okay, hold on. So I have a little Shohei Ohtani story I didn't know him. I knew of him. I had never seen him like play or whatever. I just somehow never caught those games. But when he was with the what is it, the Anaheim Angels, right? Yeah, he was with the Anaheim Angels a couple years back, and I was in Anaheim, and we went to go see a Yankees game at a different stadium. So, we're rooting for Yankees, blah, blah, blah. I immediately clocked that this was a fantastic player. Like, I didn't know too much about this guy. But I started rooting for the other team just because, like, not because they were winning, but because, like, that was, like, skill being demonstrated. And I was just like, that is really cool. So, anyway, that's the kind of baseball fan I am. I don't follow whoever's winning or whatever. I follow sportsmanship and well done plays and stuff like that. That's what I'm here for.
But even then, you know way more than I do.
Yeah, I live in New York. It comes with the territory.
Yeah, man. Like, I can tell you soccer stuff, but I can't tell you baseball.
I don't know. I don't know much about soccer.
I mean, honestly, I know more football stuff, and like I don't even really watch football like that.
All right, guys, before we get too bogged down in sports stats and all that, let's talk a little bit about what we've been up to for the past 2 weeks, because we've been away for a week. My fault, guys. I was on vacation again. I just can't stay in my house. Anyway, let's start with you, Anthony. What have you been up to? I feel like I haven't seen you in ages.
I know, man. It's been ages. After our 16 taco debacle.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I don't think we told Rich about that. Did we tell you that we went to a place called Hole in the Wall in South Florida, and Tuesdays they have $1 tacos. So you get a bunch of tacos for nothing. I was just like, you want to just get we'll get 2 of each of it was like 4 different types of tacos. And I told the lady, we'll get 2 each. And I didn't really catch what she said, like 2 each for each of you. And so yeah, she loaded like 8 tacos for each of us, and we ate ourselves sick. But that was fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, we tore those tacos up, man. So I've been watching a couple shows actually. One of which was a couple weeks ago. The second season of The Last of Us came out, and that I'm a fan of the video game series, and I was pretty blown away by that first season. So I knew coming into the second season, it was going to be a little controversial, because when the game came out, it was pretty controversial, especially with some of the stuff that happens. But I mean, to be honest, like, so far I've been enjoying it because they've been hitting like the beats, and I know some of the issues are like with the casting. The first season, people had issues with the casting of Ellie, and they, we kind of like accepted her, like, Bella Ramsey's from Game of Thrones. And I mean, she has like the mannerisms and like the personality down, which is like important to me. And she looks close enough, so it's not like they're taking somebody that looks completely different. It's somebody that looks similarly enough, and then like the attitude or the personality kind of like takes it the rest of the way. And it's the same thing with another big character in this season is Abby. And so like in the game she's like really, really jacked, but in the show she's like pretty like skinny. But the actress that's portraying her looks close enough, I guess, like at least like feature wise, and she kind of has like a bit of the personality down. So for me, as long as like they hit the beats and like some of the deviations or adding or anything that they add to it kind of helps enhance the experience rather than trying to completely change it, then I'm all for it, So I mean, I've been enjoying it so far. I think that it's been pretty good. I can't wait to see.
Season 2's been shocking a bunch of people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially after the last episode. But I knew that was coming because there's a whole like group of people that don't know what's happening unless like they, somebody who's played the game, or if they've watched the game, or decide to play it after the first season. But yeah, no, it's definitely like shocked some people. And also I have been watching an anime. It's also on Max, and it's called Lazarus, and it's made by the same creator of Cowboy Bebop.
Sick.
And yeah, so it's pretty much of like
Is it newer?
Yeah, it's new. I think there's only like 3, maybe 4 episodes out.
Okay, so it's
yeah, it's new. But yeah, it's pretty much about like this ragtag team called Lazarus, and they're looking for this doctor that had created this kind of like miracle painkiller that would like just get rid of everything, and people are like using it for everything. You know, like for actual pain, for like emotional pain, for they were using it in drugs and all that stuff. And then like news came out that after like everybody that's used it, like they have this much time left before they die.
Oof.
And so like the show kind of like picks it up where they have like a month to like find this guy, and I guess like try to figure things out. And so it's been interesting so far. I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, it's a cool concept. That's a cool concept.
But yeah.
Anything else?
But yeah, no, mostly, and then like hanging out with you when you came down, and that was fun. That's always fun when
Dakota shows up.
Yeah, when Dakota shows up, and we tear it up, especially with tacos. And we tore down 8 tacos.
I was like knocked out that night. Like I was just
tacos were about to like come back out.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, man. No, but yeah, other than that,
and the lady came back. She asked if we wanted more. I was like, no,
we were good. Yeah. Yeah, we had a couple beers and tacos, and we were out, man. But yeah, how about you, Dakota? I'll throw it over to you.
Yeah. So the reason we're out for a week is again my fault. Went down to Florida, visited family. I have my cousin has a baby, so we're trying to go down there and see him as much as possible as he's in his developmental years. So that's been good. And I went to Disney World, spent a couple days there, stayed at Coronado Springs, which is really nice. It's like a Spanish themed resort, like a Spain themed resort.
Oh, nice.
But it has a Aztec or Mayan ruin like pool thing.
Oh,
like
cool.
It's like the pool is like this big, like overlooking the pool I should say, is a big like pyramid, kind of like you would see at like an Epcot or whatever, or the Mexican pyramids obviously. And yeah, that was fun. Theming of that resort was really cool, and we decided we were just going to kind of try new foods and just not try to focus on the rides, because we tend to spend so much time in lines and stuff that. But anyway, we decided to like really go hard on like pin trading, and yeah, we were like really successful with that. Like we found a lot of cool pins throughout the parks, and yeah, that was a really good time. And nice. Since I've been back, I have been watching Andor. Andor came out a couple days ago.
Oh yeah, that too. Forget to throw that in there.
Are you caught up?
No, I'm just an episode. I had started episode 2, but I haven't finished it.
Okay. Yeah, I've finished the first 3 episodes, and it's crazy good. Like it's, I mentioned on Twitter, like those dreams where you go on a crazy adventure, everything is like super fun. Or you get like a gift, or you buy something, or you find something that is just exactly what you want in that dream. And then you wake up and it's gone. Like, and you just like, there's a brief moment of like, oh, that wasn't.
Oh, I hate that so much.
Well, I keep thinking like Andor feels like it should be one of those things. Like it shouldn't exist,
Right,
like it feels like an adventure you would have in a dream. Like these are characters that shouldn't have their own TV show, but they do. Yeah. Inexplicably, they have their own TV show. My cat is like going crazy in his litter box right now. Sorry if you can hear that. Yeah, I'm like, I was rewatching one of the episodes because I'm writing a short like video on it that should be out tomorrow. It should be out by the time that this podcast is up.
Nice.
And yeah, I was writing a short script, and I'm rewatching these episodes, and I'm like, how does this exist? How did they like get the okay to like just spend hundreds of millions of dollars on Mon Mothma and Andor and a bunch of like really tertiary characters and somehow make it the best show of the year, basically. Like if you look at the Rotten Tomato scores, the Metacritic scores, like this season, because critics have reviewed the full season, they've seen the full season at this point. This season is the most, or the highest reviewed season of television that has come out so far over these past 4 months, this year anyway. But yeah, so it's just crazy good. It's crazy good TV, and I can't believe it exists. And yeah, I'm gonna be sad when it's over, because they're doing 3-episode chunks, which is great because it does make sense that they're like showing every arc of what's going on each week. But I'm gonna be sad when it's over, because that's it. It'll basically catch up to Rogue One, and we know what happens from there.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I remember showing you, was it last week, that they had shifted from like that initial idea of like doing 5 seasons down to like, you know what, we could do it in 2. So
yeah,
but yeah, no, it's crazy because it is some of our best like Star Wars content, and I agree with you. These are characters that we never really asked for, but like they gave it to us anyway, and it's just oddly really good. Like it just, but speaking of that, like now while we're on topic, that is going to be, so season 1 of Andor is going to be our next 2 episodes. We're going to break it up into two parts. That's definitely a show that we have to break down in 2 parts. Like we cannot we can't do like a one and arcs, done. Yeah, we have to give it the same respect that, I mean, we did that with Skeleton Crew, so we 100% have to do that with Andor.
Yep. Yeah, so I'm excited to cover that. And honestly, by the time, we could probably go straight through Andor season 1 and Andor season 2, like in 4 episodes. If we decide to do that, we could take a break after the first season, of course. But
yeah, I would say give people kind of some time to like catch up, because it is fresh and new.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what we're going to be covering next week for episode 118 and 119. So 118 is going to be the first 6 episodes of season 1 of Andor, and the second, or 119, will be the last 6 episodes of the first season. So we're going to do 2 arcs each, and yeah, that'll be good.
Yep.
Rich, let's send it over to you. What have you been up to?
Well, by the way, it's foolhardy to think that after we do 2 episodes of Andor that we're going to take a break. We're going to be so jazzed up that we're going to be like, let's go, because it's gonna just have ended basically.
By the time like we finish episode 119, I'm just going to be like, one way out. Yeah. One way out.
Well, so it's funny because we have similar interests, probably why we get together once a week. So I don't even know also you. Watching. I was also, so over the kind of break we've had, I also went away, though. I did go to Oaxaca, Mexico. So got to check out a bunch of cool stuff. Went to see the
awesome.
Petrified Waterfall. Pulled my back before I went on an hour hike up a mountain, which was fun.
That's crazy.
Slightly afraid of falling. I don't mind the heights, but I don't want to be on like when everyone goes to the edge to take a picture. I'm like, no, it's okay. I'll just go hold that tree there, and not fall off of this thing. But
that's fair and fairly normal, actually. I hear tell that you've had 22 hot dogs this year, and your favorite was a Mexican hot dog.
Yes, it was actually I had the fantastic.
This is not hyperbole.
No, I've been asked to count how many hot dogs I've had during the year, so I'm taking in my notes on my iPhone. I have one note dedicated to hot dogs, and I'm just writing down when I've had them, what kind they were, like.
You give them a brief rating, like out of 10?
Yeah, well, like one day at school, like I thought I was gonna end up getting like chicken nuggets, and instead they didn't have chicken nuggets, and my student said, I just saw the chili cheese dog, and I just thought that you'd love it, and I was like, you thought right, kid. I suddenly became Wilson Fisk when I thought about that. I did have, but in Mexico, I got to we were coming home. I got to see a living legend. One of the micro estrellas of Lucha Libre. That's the mini guys, the little people. This guy's name is Qué Monito. He wears a blue gorilla costume. He's been in the business for like 40 years, and my son and I got to meet him, so that was great. And then
he's
after
still doing it?
Oh well, he's not wrestling. He's just
performing.
He just showed up. He didn't even perform. He just literally. It was like a line to meet him. Got to take a picture with him.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like sometimes independent shows are really big on getting a star to not even wrestle, just be there, and then you watch the other guys. And the way home, nothing was open. So saw a street cart and saw hot dogs, and I was like, why not? And they slattered some mayo on there. There was an offer of jalapenos, which I turned down because I didn't want to die. I did, but diced tomatoes, which other than a Chicago dog, I rarely have on a hot dog.
That's interesting.
But it was it all came together beautifully. Grilled onions. I had two. I was very pleased. I always I'll one of the reasons why I know I'm going to get to 50 this year, as I always do, is because all you're asking me to do is, hey, Rich, have hot dogs 25 times a year. And if I have them 25, I'm going to have two, right? So guaranteed.
Oh, so you always get two. Okay.
Yeah, I always get two. You don't get one. I mean, what's the point, And then
so
the Mets
was it kind of like street corn in that respect, where they kind of doctor it up in a way that is just like super pleasurable? Okay, nice.
It was really it was delicious, and I mean, I had some $5 dogs from City Field, which they taste delicious because you're paying less. So
I'm watching Anthony's face. I don't know if he believes the conversation that we're having. He's just it looks like he's just trying to see if like we're being serious about this hot dog conversation or if we're just BSing for the sake of it for the past 2 minutes.
what part of it? I mean, because him like talking about like a hot dog getting dressed up in Mexico. I mean, I totally believe it. Elote is like one of my favorite things, but like him getting to like eating 50 hot dogs, I mean, like in 365 days, very plausible. Now, if you're saying 1,000, then okay, that'd be something else. I'd be like, okay.
Anthony's doing the math out here.
Yeah, 1,000 would be ridiculous. No, that would be. But other than hot dogs, I just watched Andor as well. I'm 2 episodes in. I'm a little behind because I wasn't able to watch a lot when I was away. And I finished Daredevil, Born Again, and I also started Last of Us. So kind of juggling.
How was Daredevil Born Again? I haven't.
I think I thought it was fantastic. Honestly, I very rarely. I had my breath taken away by some of the violence, and I don't think it's just because it was violent, but the way they told the story. So that when the violence happened, it kind of knocked the wind out of me and kind of shook me a little bit, to be honest with you, in a good way, but in a way that, if I have to be honest, I don't normally feel. I also, maybe I'll put it up with actually like Joel, Last of Us, right, where some of that violence it just takes your breath away. You're like, oh man, why would I keep watching this almost? And that's how I felt a couple of times. Look, there. If you want to poke holes in it, you can poke holes in it. I know that some people maybe have heard me like I'm kind of a Marvel and Star Wars show apologist sometimes, but I didn't like Secret Invasion. Okay, like I do have a line of self-respect, but I actually really do recommend Daredevil. If you liked the street level, if you liked the Netflix show, and honestly, even if you didn't watch the Netflix show, you'd still be okay. But it's definitely way better if you did watch the Netflix.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, I'll definitely watch it eventually. I was waiting for it to fully come out before I wanted to binge it like Netflix style. I didn't want to wait week after week. But yeah, I'll definitely get to that eventually. Another show, now that we're, on the topic, I don't think you guys have seen episode 3 of Andor season 2 yet. It does have a scene that is definitely not kid friendly. So just if you're listening and you haven't seen Andor season 2 yet, don't show your kids that.
Well, even honestly, like the show is probably not going to really interest them.
No, they're not going to understand it. Yeah, it's so subtle in like what it's trying to portray, and it does a really good job of that subtlety. But yeah, it's heavy stuff when it can be.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, guys, should we talk about Bad News Bears? I mean, Sandlot.
Oh wait, not League of Their Own?
Not League of Their Own. No, I haven't seen it, guys. I'm sorry. No, let's do Sandlot.
This is that wiffle ball movie, right?
Wiffle ball. Yeah, it's the game that never ends in like some guy's backyard. Yeah. All right. So this is the first time I've seen this since I don't know. It must have been like summer camp that they played this. It wasn't a movie that I would have ever like willingly put on. It was never like in my wheelhouse. It was, just something that was around during my childhood. And I think it was even, it predated me a little bit because this was a 93 movie. I was born in 91. So by the time I was old enough to really appreciate it, it had probably cycled out a little bit. Anthony, you're probably in the same boat as me?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, absolutely. But this is a movie that I had seen like a handful of times as a kid. I mean, I've said it like a couple times. I'm not really somebody that sits down to watch baseball, but like this is one of those movies that has kind of been around. At like I watched it as a kid. I watched it again like as I got. I've seen it like a handful of times, like over the years, and I definitely do like appreciate it. It's for me, it's not. I know that like baseball's the backdrop, but what gets me is like this group of friends and kind of like the like coming of age story that they have going on. And dude, it's got my boy James Earl Jones in it. Come on now.
I totally forgot he was in that movie. So like when he showed up at the end, I was like, oh yeah. But when I was a kid, I didn't know who James Earl Jones was. He kind of sounded like Mufasa when I was a kid. But yeah, Rich, when was the last time you saw this?
So it's been a while since I've seen it, but it was pretty regular viewing. I mean, my friends and I. So when this came out, I was 11.
Okay, so it's perfect age.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me even to pull this apart because, see, I mean, I'm 11. You're putting me in about 6th grade, right? So the thing is, I lived a couple blocks away from the park. We would get a bunch of kids together, and even if it wasn't a bunch of us, me and a friend, we found this spot next to the public school building, near the basketball courts that had a fence that essentially could form our catcher backstop and allowed us to we'd have rules. If you hit the ball on the stairs, it was a triple. If you hit over on the orange above the window, it was so we basically made rules to make up for the fact that we didn't have fielders and it was just us playing a one-on-one. And okay. So did I watch Sandlot and then say, hey, let's go to the park? Or were we doing that and Sandlot came out and we were like, oh, that's great? I can't separate those two, to be honest. But it's right around the same time. When this movie came out, I was out gathering as many people as I could in the neighborhood to try to go play baseball. So this came out at the perfect time for me in my life. I saw it a bunch of times, and I think the only reason I didn't watch it more was because we wanted to watch like the adult baseball movies, So we're like, oh, we're gonna watch Major League. It's rated R, and we liked that so much and felt like we were breaking the rules that one kind of replaced Sandlot.
Okay, but this was always close to your heart, just because it kind of mirrored your own childhood. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, other than, I didn't grow up in the 50s. Just want to clarify for the audience.
That's good to know.
I mean, I wouldn't have guessed with, the amount of times that you're like, oh, I'm ancient. I thought you were born in 1945, man.
I mean, I wasn't the crowd during the filming of I Love Lucy.
Legit?
No.
I was like, wait, what?
No.
I was like, how long did I Love Lucy run? Oh, that's funny. Yeah. So let's talk about some of the characters, some of the motivations of said characters, and the journey that they go on. Let's start with, obviously, Smalls, who moves into this neighborhood in like the early 60s and is immediately just almost incapable of like getting friends because he just doesn't know what he's doing. He likes the idea of playing baseball. He wants to learn how to play catch. He's always asking his stepdad to teach him catch, and he just doesn't get it. Like he just, something isn't clicking for him until he meets this group of kids. What do you guys think of Smalls at this point in the movie?
Smalls, like his just like kind of social interactions and just like his just ability to do things almost makes it seem like he was born yesterday. Like it's like, dude, what's happening? Like,
that's
are you a robot? Point. Like, are you a real person? Is this really happening?
He does kind of, act like Haley Joel Osment in AI.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh, I've been doing that for ages. But yeah, it's like, dude, what, like, like, do you need like a software upgrade? Like, what's going on? But I mean, he is like pretty much like the main character, and most of it is, or the movie is like narrated by like an older version of him.
A few times it confused me, the narration, because it would be like narrating him, but focused on his friend. I think Benny was the name of the friend.
Yeah,
Benny
Jet Rodriguez,
the like other kind of like main character.
Yeah, the guy who helps him become who he eventually becomes.
Yeah.
I really liked their interactions, because Benny is the older of the Sandlot kids, of the neighborhood kids, and he doesn't ever hold that against anybody in the crew. He's actually a very like kind-hearted person, because I don't think there's ever a scene where he does something selfish or something belittling to the other players, or characters rather. And he really takes Smalls under his wing, where the other 7 kids are, actively, bullying this guy who doesn't know what he's doing, can't throw a ball, can't catch anything, doesn't understand where center left field is. He doesn't know anything. He thinks Babe Ruth is a hot girl his dad knew. I love that, they had all these nicknames for Babe Ruth, and he's with them every day, but somehow, like, by the end of the movie, he still doesn't get, like, who Babe Ruth is, who the Great Bambino is.
That part is, to me, the weirdest. He spends enough. Okay, we have to accept that there's a passage of days and time, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know Bill's schedule. All right, I don't know how often he's away on business. But I just don't understand, because it's like right after the first day of him being like a normal boy, like his Pinocchio moment where he's, Benny helps him and, gives him a glove and everything. Like, I'm surprised that we don't get a scene at a dinner table where he's like, "Hey, Bill, I'm playing the baseballs that you like." And Bill goes, "Oh, the baseballs? I got a baseball signed by, the Sultan of Swing, and goes and shows him." Like,
that's a good point. Yeah.
It's just so weird that this giant life change happens, right? Like, he goes from like his mom being like, "I'm scared that you're going to kill yourself because of your erector sets." And now he has this new thing in his life. And because that's what, it doesn't bother me that he doesn't know at first. It bothers me at the end when he still doesn't know who it is.
Yeah, right. It just kind of goes to show. Oh, sorry. It kind of just goes to show how like out of touch the father or the stepdad is. Clearly doesn't want to help this kid, play catch. I mean, he doesn't. I think he does want to be in the kid's life, but he's completely self-absorbed in his career and his job, and is always putting the kid second place until his mother basically like coerces him, like, "No, you're going to do this now." And what I will say is that I think the mom knows that like he is playing with his friends, playing baseball. Like he's constantly telling Mom, "I'm going to go play a game," or "Mom, I'm going out with my friends." So he seems to have a good relationship with his mom, and the mom most likely knows that he's playing baseball.
Do you think that it was that his first dad, Indiana Jones, was never around to play catch with him, and that's why he doesn't know how to play catch?
Wait, what? You threw me with Indiana Jones.
Well, we know his.
I'm trying to like make that connection.
His father's missing. His mother in the movie is played by the actress who's.
Oh, Marianne. Oh, I was wondering.
So now maybe this is like Indy's baby that he had with the young girl, and boom, Sandlot.
I forgot. I totally forgot that. That's.
I love the casting. Wow. That's kind of my way of just like I liked. I think Leary as a kind of deadbeatish stepdad
Mm-hmm.
works really well. I mean, I just buy it. I mean, he plays like a jerky character so well that I think it was great. I thought she really kind of looks like a 1960s mom, so
She does. Yeah.
I bought it, and it was. I don't know. For me, I know Anthony, you were saying that like he doesn't know anything, but we were talking about this just before the show started. Like, it's like as I was starting to watch Sandlot, like I've been wanting my son. We've kind of had the conversation in the house, like the kids are on the block. Why aren't you outside? Like, go play with them, And it's almost like I went to go watch the movie, and suddenly he's like, Dad, I'm going to go play wiffle ball with some of the guys in the backyard. And I was like, yes, go, 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 go. Like he just knows not to take my Doc Gooden. He's like, Dad, you have this baseball signed by your dentist, Doc Gooden? And I'm like, what are you talking about? But luckily I've taught him enough that he knows who Doc Gooden is. But so for me, I don't know if it was just the timing of my life, but now after watching it as a kid, I kind of watched it as a dad, and that's so I kind of appreciated those kind of interactions and the parents or the mom sentiment that she wants him to go out and make friends and get what does she say, like you're supposed to fall down, you're supposed to get scrapes on your knees and go get hurt, not too hurt, but just enough.
Go get into trouble, she says, which is an interesting It's very, yeah, she is right. Like you never hear your parents say go get into trouble and mean it, So I like that. I like her as a character. She seems really cool. And yeah, the casting for the mom and the stepdad was really really well done. Anthony, what are your thoughts on the parents?
You guys pretty much nailed it down. The mom was so concerned with him not making friends, so I know that when he would kind of go out and be like, "Oh, I'm playing baseball with friends," like I mean, that made her happy. So I know that she really didn't really care for that, and I guess that gave the stepfather an out also. Like, oh, you can play catch with them. Like, I don't really have to do that now.
That's a really good point, actually. Yeah. Like if he's preoccupied with his friends, he's not in the house. He's not asking me to like step away from work.
Right, and this all like takes place during the summer, so
yeah. One thing I really liked about The Sandlot, rewatching it, and Rich, I'm happy to hear that your son is kind of having that moment where he's playing with the kids around the block and doing what kids are supposed to be doing in the summers, because you don't see that too much anymore. Everyone plays video games now. Everyone kind of meets online. And Anthony, you and I, like, we grew up doing stupid stuff around our neighborhoods.
Yeah. I would say millennials were like kind of like that last generation that got that. I mean, because we did have our indoor time, we did play video games, but we also did spend time outdoors. So like we were kind of like one foot in and 1 foot out the door, and a lot of times.
You remember when you were at my house and my dad was just like, go outside.
Yeah. Your dad would literally like kick us out of the house to like play outside.
My dad would kick us out and just go to the corner store and grab like something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like,
yeah, man. And like we would ride bikes like down the street. Like it, that was like a 15 or so minute like bike. The bike ride over. So. Mm-hmm. You're definitely not gonna be seeing many kids like leave their neighborhood and go out somewhere else. But man,
it was cool seeing that depicted in Sandlot. Is what I'm trying to get at. Like the idea that this is capturing that moment in that summer with these 9 individuals, and it was just basically a perfect summer until it wasn't, obviously. There was a little bit of a hiccup near the end, but I really love that depiction of like the perfect summer for a kid. And we've all had that, at least on this podcast. We have all had the perfect summer. I don't know about kids these days. I'm hoping that they do, but yeah.
I mean, we spent a lot of summers outdoors too, going to the day camp and whatnot. Like,
yeah. And also like it's a depiction of a time now gone,
Yeah.
like where your parents didn't care where you were, like that does not happen anymore. There's no parents have to care nowadays. And yeah, it's just cool. It's cool, but it's also like sobering because like life isn't like that anymore. And it's a shame.
Yeah. No, definitely. It's nice, like kind of getting a glimpse of a time. It's like it's a time capsule. So yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's funny because it's very clearly a 90s movie, but it's also very clearly a 60s movie. And it kind of bridges those gaps pretty well because it plays like a 90s movie. It's very much directed almost like a Ferris Bueller's Day Off kind of vibe, putting it as a period piece a couple decades before that. I think it's like 30 years before or something like that. It does a really good job of just capturing, two different eras. It's like double nostalgia, I guess. For me, it's nostalgia for a time that I never knew and a time that I was born into. So
the end of the movie recap, where I think it's is it Yeah who fakes drowning in the pool.
Yeah,
and I think at the end the recap, if I'm correct, is that he ends up marrying that lifeguard. And they have 9 children.
Yes.
And like I like how that's supposed to be like undercover, like he's a wild sexual stallion. Like that was like a line for the parents, like because, like kids are, if you're just a kid, you're like, oh, that's a lot of siblings and stuff, right? But when you hear like 9, like that lady was pregnant for 10 years. More.
Yeah. And no, it's funny because like some of the stuff that they get into really does remind me of like just like being within a group of kids and then like egging on that one kid to go talk to that girl that he likes.
Yeah,
I think a lot of that happened during
Wendy
like,
Peppercorn.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. There's definitely like growing up that age. There's definitely a lot of. You always had like that crush.
I think the character was Squints.
Yeah,
Squints,
his name was Squints. Yeah,
Squints. Yeah, I know that because I was trying to like piece like they say each of the kids' names like really quickly in the beginning, and I don't remember most of them. But I remember Squints because he takes his glasses off, rubs it on his face, and then pokes himself in the eye, and he starts laughing and looking at the camera like, "Did I do something wrong?" I love that. I had to go back. I was just like, that's a really fun like gaff that they just kept in.
I was laughing. So when they're trying to get Smalls, Benny's trying to get Smalls accepted, and he just says like, stand there, put your glove out, and close your eyes, just catch the ball, and he's able to hit it to him, and it wasn't the same. But I was playing with my friend, and we were playing. We actually had a full like squad, so we had like 9-on-9. And I was talking a little bit of trash to him. So he purposely hit it at me. All right. And remembering the movie, I literally just kind of took 2 steps forward and I said, and it was screaming at me. This thing. And I just closed my eyes and I just closed my eyes and I opened the glove and just it went into my glove and I just closed. And he like afterwards, he was just like, he's like, that was pure luck. And I was like, yeah, 100%. I was like, it was just like Sandlot. But Sandlot, it was skill. Like I literally, it was the skill of the batter, and I still put it on my friend, Bruno. He hit it. I mean, it just so happened that I got lucky and protected myself with the glove. But that scene was great. I mean, there's just so many, just so many fun moments. And just, like you said, like, the character Benny being just so absolutely
wholesome.
Yeah, and it's not like it's not like the characters at Seven Heaven who I want to like just assault, right? Like they're supposed to be wholesome, but they're not really wholesome.
Oh,
like,
okay, yeah.
I find no malice in him, and not because he's a poorly developed character, like or like too much of a caricature. It's just like he's that nice of a guy.
He's the guy that is always doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Benny's awesome. I like that idea though, or I don't know if I like it, but I thought it was funny, where to unlock Small's power, all he needed was a little bit of luck from another or a skill from another player. Just close your eyes, lift up your glove. Don't keep your eye on the ball, because why would you need to do that? And it goes into his glove, and then it's just like baseball unlocked, and he can throw now. He can hit the ball now. He can catch now.
It was a confidence thing, you know.
But, I guess so.
But yeah, no, it's crazy though. Like the the supposed precision that Benny had with that bat, you know, on par with the called shot. You know, like yeah, just stand over there. I'm gonna hit it right to you. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, no, that's interesting. There's also Ham, which is like another character that kind of like sticks out a little bit. He's like the larger ginger kid.
Yeah. No. Sorry. You mentioned the called shot again, and I'm still thinking about it. And Rich, you ruined a beautiful moment in my head of just like that is legendary. Like
I didn't mean to do it. Like what happened was I literally stopped the movie and said, you know what? My son needs to know about the called shot. Right.
So you wanted to get as much information about it as possible.
Yeah. So I was like, is there video? And like, I start reading that, like, and it's recent, like a couple years ago. I mean, this is like been mostly it wasn't. It's not like it's been discussed for a very long time. It's like a very recent thing that if you just like put in the called shot, like it starts to, it's like, did it really happen? And I'm just like, no, it broke my heart.
Yeah. So Anthony, when they say that the single hardest act or the single hardest or most difficult action in any sport is to hit a baseball at the speeds that pitchers pitch. Nowadays they pitch like 90-mile-an-hour balls regularly. That's just the norm. And you get about a second, if not less than a second, to decide whether you're going to swing or not. And then you actually have to make contact with the ball where you want it on the bat. It's said to be the single most difficult action to do in any sport. So the idea of someone being able to not only do that, but kind of call your shot like you're playing billiards, 8 ball in that pocket, 8 ball in that pocket, to do that and then hit the ball on the next pitch and make that play. It's just kind of such an incredible story that I've always kind of just assumed it was real, but now I don't believe it anymore. But it is, to Babe Ruth's credit, that is a really cool story. I would have definitely ran with it for a couple years until I was just tired of it. And
they kind of made the point that baseball players were very proud back then. I mean, even in the 90s, they were more proud than they are now, and they would defend themselves. And one thing would happen is if a guy did that, the very next pitch would be at his head, right? Like it'd be like, you can't hit this one. So yeah, that's that's part of the problem with like accepting that it happened, because in that era they would have plunked him right away.
It also kind of amazes me, like the evolution. So kind of like the evolution of that sport, and it's in like line with other sports. But like if you look at Babe Ruth, that man looks like after he looked like after he played baseball, he just like. He had beers and hot dogs all the time. Like he was chubby, like he was like a chubby guy.
During it. He was chubby during it, yeah.
So like like he wasn't built like an athlete, but that man, he did what he did. So it's wild. And then like you look at athletes now, baseball players. I would say like most of them are like pretty built and cut, and they go through, there's training, and I'm pretty sure that there's like a a fat percentage that they have to stay below. So
well,
you'd be surprised though. There's some big dudes. I
have some facts
in baseball. Here. I mean that I wouldn't be surprised. Football, I wouldn't be surprised either.
Oh yeah. Oh, go ahead. I
have a fact about Babe Ruth and hot dogs, tying everything together here. So it is that there's a legendary story of Babe Ruth during a doubleheader between two games. He ate between 12 and 24 hot dogs. It is the numbers that we know the bare minimum is 12 hot dogs between two games and 8 bottles of soda.
8 bottles of soda.
So, this is, and then he ended up blacking out, and a week later had to go surgery for intestinal abscesses. So it seems that the only thing that could stop Babe Ruth was indeed the hot dog.
Hot dogs and soda.
Yep.
It was probably the 8 bottles of soda. Like, that's a lot of...
That is, yeah.
And that
a
back
lot of
then,
sugar,
that's
a lot of
that's
carbonation.
that real sugar, you know?
That real cocaine sugar.
Yeah, back then, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. Rich, what's your take on the, like, it's kind of like a... Pitchers weren't pitching as fast as they are today back then, in Babe Ruth's time. How do you think he would, stand in today's sport? And also, like, one thing people never really compare is, like, they'll say, like, oh, he'd never be able to play in today's sport. Like, it's the game is, like, moved on from, that skill level's not the same. It's not comparable. But if you take someone like him, who's naturally talented, and put them in the training regimen that these other players today are, where do you think he'd stand? Just based on the comparative level of skill that he had back then, what do you think?
So I think that some of his success had to be attributed to the fact that pitchers pitched the entire game. So you have, not only do we have an uptick in speed, because the truth is, like, they still had guys who, they didn't have, obviously, the radar guns the way they do now, and they judged it differently. But there were guys who definitely threw really, could throw fast. But now the thing is, it's more of a chess match. So I've seen you now twice already today. You've thrown me your best pitches. Maybe I picked up on how you release your changeup, and now I can see it coming on my third and fourth at bat. So, and you had fewer pitchers in the league. You had fewer teams. So you also have this idea where, oh, it's this guy again. I've seen him X number of times over the last 3 years. There wasn't free agency. So you didn't have guys just going around from team to team. So you had guys with the same team for a longer time. So these guys got to see the same pitchers.
Yeah.
I think that he would have not... I don't think he'd put up the numbers that he did back then. I think that he had an advantage then, but I think that with the training regimen, I think he would have still been a very good athlete. He was a pitcher and a batter. He was a very actually accomplished pitcher. He pitched way more than I think a lot of us actually think, like that it wasn't just kind of a flash in the pan for a couple of years. So obvious. No, the only thing is we're watching it with Ohtani. He's the only real other baseball player at that level that's ever pitched and kind of batted consistently.
Yeah.
So I don't think that even Ohtani is going to keep pitching. If it's my money, I wouldn't even. They're just going to ease him out of it at some point.
It's just too dangerous on the muscles.
Maybe keep him as like a random reliever that, like, in the playoffs, it's like, oh my God, Shohei Ohtani's coming in a pitch.
Right. That's an interesting perspective. I like that, and it does make sense. There were less players in the league. There was less teams in the league. You were going to encounter the same people regularly pitching the same curveballs that they normally do, and you're gonna learn their tricks. And that's a good point about pitchers pitching the full game. When did they stop that? And obviously you still have some games where, like, pitchers will pitch the full game. It's just not a regular occurrence, right?
Yeah, I mean, as recently as 2015, like in that I can, I just remember, like, one of the Mets in the World Series actually almost pitched a full 9 innings. And that was really rare. Like, that was like, whoa, like, especially in the playoffs.
It would need to be almost a perfect game nowadays before, like, unless, or is it based on innings that they, call a pitcher, or based on the number of pitches?
Number of pitches really is most of the time what they do now. Whereas, like, in the 80s, still into the 90s, you still had a fairly rare occurrence. It fairly happened often that you would see a guy go a whole game. I know that Doc Gooden in the 80s still, he lost a game that he pitched 10 innings. That's just crazy to think. Nowadays, it happens once in a blue moon, but it's very, very rare for that to occur.
And I think it really, like what I was saying, and Anthony, to pitch a perfect game, I think it's only happened like 4 or 5 times in history. It's basically like you strike everybody out. You don't walk a single person. They don't make a single hit at bat, and it's like you run through every inning so fast that you never get tired. Basically, it's only happened a couple times, so yeah, it's very rare.
I'll just jump in. So it is super rare, but it has happened 24 times. Shockingly.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
I knew the number 4 was in there. Let's jump back into Sandlot.
We're over. Well, as far as like recording, we're over the hour mark. Let's just we talked a little bit, not about all the characters, to be honest. Like, not every character is memorable. I would say like really just like 4 of them, and then like it kind of trickles down like after that.
I like the younger brother that repeated everything the older brother said. I thought that was
great. And then you talked about like how it was a perfect summer, and that summer turns to not be so perfect, and that's because Smalls decides to use his stepfather's Babe Ruth signed baseball to play baseball, and it goes over the fence into the yard where like this guy supposedly had like the beast or like the monster, like, creature in his yard, and it really just ended up being like a really large dog, and it was owned by James Earl Jones.
Yeah, I really like the depiction of the beast throughout the whole thing, because this is obviously very much pre-CGI, so they're using big puppets to like showcase the size of this gigantic dog thing, and how like evil and like and huge it is. And every time they try to get the ball back, he does something absolutely insane. Like that's the part that gets me, is like he's like destroying like all this like mechanical equipment. He's like he just puts his paw down, he destroys this pot. He's a extremely powerful dog. But like when you actually see him, he's just an English Mastiff. Like they're big dogs. They're like, they can get up to like 200 pounds, but they ain't that big. So I like the idea that these kids have like built up this dog in their head to a degree that, he is the beast. Like they have legends about this dog that, predate their time in the Sandlot. I think it's fun.
Yeah, no, it really was. And like the whole chase scene between the dog and Benny, like, Benny, like he puts on like this nice pair of shoes to like run in, and that the whole chase scene was like really fun. But it's really cool when they like do finally get to meet the owner, and he's just like a really cool like blind dude that really loves baseball.
Yeah, like he there's a little kind of Easter egg. I don't know if you guys noticed. I can't remember the character's name. I remember him as Jesse just because I remember him from the Mighty Ducks movies. He's the pitcher. He was wearing a hat that had a KC on it, and it was red. And that's that's from the Kansas City Monarchs of the Negro Leagues. So
okay,
I just thought like, and then you end up having James Earl Jones, who was a Negro League player essentially, and he had his picture taken with Ruth, and I think it's Gehrig at the end.
I think it's Lou Gehrig, yeah.
Yeah, so that was kind of like a little, because I noticed it just because when I play MLB The Show, you play in some of the Negro League like games, and so I recognized the cap, and then when the kind of the reveal. Oh,
that's cool! I would have never caught that.
I was like, nice.
I wrote some notes down of just like some things that I either liked or like quotes that I liked. But like one thing that like I'm still a little flabbergasted that this kid never figured out who Babe Ruth was, who the Great Bambino was, because he even writes down in his notes like baseball stuff to remember, and number 1 is who is Great Bambino. He just never asks anyone. I love it. I love that kid. I do really like the recap at the end where it kind of just goes on to, say that no summer was quite like that first one. And I think that may not have actually been true, but the way our memory works, like the further back in time we go, like the nicer the memories get, or like the more adventurous and magical our memories get. So I kind of like that, each as they grew up and grew apart, like he still remembered all of these characters, and I like the little recap that we get of everybody, especially Squints and Wendy Peppercorn.
and then I loved that he's calling the game, and Benny's like a veteran at this point, and I mean it's so Anthony, I know you don't watch a lot of baseball, so that part is so ridiculous, all right? Because like when you bring a pinch runner in, right, there's already this idea that they might steal, all right? So they're being watched a little bit more, okay? Stealing home plate is I've only like legitimately seen it.
I've never seen it.
I think I've seen it one time, like over the course of like regular baseball watching, like not like ESPN showed me, like I was watching a game and it ever happened. And I mean, I can't tell you how many baseball games I've watched. So the fact
because
that
you're in the peripheral of the pitcher, like, so like the idea of you being able to like outrun the pitcher to home plate is just,
you're outrunning the ball. You're outrunning how
a
fast
90-mile-an-hour
the pitcher
ball,
can throw the ball. Like, everybody has to not be paying attention. And the thing is, he was brought in with the purpose of doing what he did. So like and he was known for being fast, and that's what he was good at. So like everybody would have been looking at him. So the fact that he just saunters up, the crowd is chanting for a pinch runner, right, which never happens. All right, so they're chanting this guy's name, and then he just casually takes home plate. Is almost like calling your own shot in the World Series. I mean, it's kind of
he's just he's just a legend like that, man. That's just what he does,
That's Benny, man.
Benny steals him, steals him on the daily, man. He steals home plate like stealing candy from a baby, man. Like he's just.
My wife told me about a new slang at school that she has been hearing: 10 toes down. Basically, it just means like you've got your ish together, like you've got your toes to the ground. So Benny was 10 toes down.
Yeah. 10 toes down. So I haven't. I work at the same school. Damn it.
Well, get caught up on it, Rich.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you guys have any like last minute things that you wanted to add to this? I mean, it's definitely like it's a fun movie to watch. Like, there's no deep lore. I mean, the characters are the characters. It's a fun story, and if you haven't seen it in a while and you remember having fond memories of it, go back and watch it. Yeah, I watched it on Disney Plus, so it should be on there.
It's still there, guys. It's on Disney Plus. Yeah, last thoughts. I really liked the July 4th scene. I just thought that was just a really...
I did too.
I don't know. It's like July 4th already has a kind of magical feel, but like playing baseball, I can't imagine, and like seeing stuff like that. It must have been really cool. But anyway, I really like that. I liked the movie. I had a good time with it, and yeah, would watch again. Would even watch another baseball movie. I'm not a big like sports movie kind of guy, but
I agree.
I would do it. I would watch another baseball movie.
I tell that to Rich.
He didn't hear me.
I think I mean I loved it. I can watch the most baseball movie, and I can also just watch it as a backdrop as well and enjoy it. And I don't know, like you guys kind of like said earlier, the things aren't the same. I mean, maybe my kid outside playing with his friends is giving me a little hope that maybe it keeps going, but
it's giving me hope.
For me, a lot of my summers were centered around baseball. It really was watch some baseball movie, play a little baseball on Super Nintendo, go get sunflower seeds so you looked like the guys, because in that time they could still chew tobacco, and and go play, and then do it again the next day. Those were our summers. And so this to me is like, you know, I didn't grow up in the same time period, but it very much was reminiscent of kind of like how I spent my time. And it's a great one. If you haven't seen it in a while, there are definitely things that I forgot about it that made me laugh again. I forgot why me and my friends all say, "You're killing me, Smalls." Especially to me, my friends used to say it all the time just because I'm small. I forgot why my friends and I all say forever. Like there are lines that I'm like, oh crap, that's where we got it from. And it's that's how much it's a bit ingrained in me that it's like we didn't even remember why we're saying it, but it was kind of just language that we adopted because of the movie, because it's kind of so iconic.
Yeah, and you've been talking about that Star Trek: The Next Generation episode for a couple of weeks that you wanted to go into with your kids in your school, and the episode's Darmok, and it's the idea that this alien race is incapable of communicating outside of the cultural and like popular culture memes of their own race, so it's impossible to understand from an outsider's point of view because there's no way to understand another meme's race. So if I tell someone who's never seen You're Killing Me, Smalls, they're not going to understand the reference, or they might if they've seen the Sandlot. But that's another one that's just been co-opted into the popular consciousness. Like You're Killing Me, Smalls, I've probably heard that more on like random TV shows than I've heard on the Sandlot. It's just Luke, I am your father. It's one of those,
Yeah.
So, yeah. Guys, speaking of Luke, he's not going to be in the next episode, but we're covering Star Wars Andor episodes 1 through 6 of the first season in next week's episode. So be there or be square, blockheads. Sorry, I'm trying to use lingo from this movie. Base up, you blockheads.
Don't forget, guys, just before you leave, just like good old Randy Savage would appreciate, if you guys just snapped into a super juicy 5-star review, like juicier than like all the dribble and the slobber that was coming off the beast, right? Like that's too viscous, right? We want it to be just really juicy. Just
a juicy 5-star review. That not juicy in the sense of like when the kids were dipping chewing tobacco on that. Not that juicy. Slightly less juicy than that. Maybe like when they first put it in their lips and they started chewing it. But after that point, no, we need it just the right amount of juicy, guys. Please give us a review of the podcast. Share it with your friends if you enjoy the show. Or just keep listening. Just stay quiet and keep listening. We appreciate that too.
Just keep it running in the background. Let it be ASMR,
Just go into, your podcast application and just download a whole bunch of our episodes, because that's how we calculate listens. I don't know why podcasts do that, but that's how podcasts calculate listens. So download everything, guys. That's that'll show the podcast apps that
all of them. Yes.
No,
do it several times over on all your devices.
If you want to follow us on any of our socials, be sure to click into the show notes down below, and you'll find all of us there. And we'll see you next time, guys.
Goodbye, y'all.
Wolverine.